On a packed summer night, two black twin sisters, Maya and Lauren Brooks, became the targets of three drunk off-duty cops who mistook cruelty for power. Laughed at for their looks, cornered like outsiders, and manhandled under the eyes of a silent crowd, the sisters were treated as if they were nothing more than prey. Easy victims to humiliate, women with no way to fight back. But those officers had no idea who they were dealing with. Long before this night, Maya and Lauren had endured tougher battles, sharpened by years of federal training. The cops thought they were breaking two helpless women. In reality, they were striking a match that would set their own downfall ablaze. Before we dive in, drop a comment letting us know where in the world you're watching from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, because what happens next is something everyone needs to see. The bar in Ashton, Tennessee was buzzing that night. Glasses clinked, laughter rang out, music pulsed in the background. But at the Brooks sisters' corner table, tension thickened with every passing second. Sergeant Travis Holt stumbled toward them, eyes glazed and badge still clipped to his belt like a weapon. He leaned too close to Maya, whiskey heavy on his breath. "Back off," Maya said evenly, her voice low but firm. Holt smirked wider. "Or what? You gonna make me?" His words cut through the chatter, silencing the bar. Behind Lauren, Brandon Miles planted his meaty hands on her chair. She went rigid, but her tone stayed cold. "Don't touch me." Brandon chuckled darkly. "Or what, you'll call the cops?" He and Holt broke into laughter, the sound dripping with arrogance. Then the rookie, Tyler Kane, swayed on his feet, pointing at them with a sloppy grin. "Twins," he slurred. "Double the fun. Double the chocolate." His crude words made a few patrons shift uncomfortably, but no one spoke. A woman near the bar grabbed her purse and slipped out quickly. Eddie, the bartender, clenched his jaw, polishing the same glass over and over, but Holt's glare froze him in place. Maya's hand brushed her purse instinctively, but Lauren caught her gaze, giving the smallest shake of her head. Not yet. Timing was everything. Holt dragged a chair across the floor, the screech making everyone flinch. He straddled it backward, leaning so close their faces were inches apart. "Here's what's gonna happen," he sneered. "You're gonna smile, buy us drinks, and apologize. Maybe then we'll let you leave." Maya lifted her glass, sipped slowly, and set it down. "Here's what's actually gonna happen. You're going to step back and leave us alone. Because right now, you're making a mistake you won't walk away from." The air went still. Holt's grin hardened. Brandon's grip tightened on Lauren's shoulders. Tyler's hand hovered over his cuffs, and as the men closed in, Maya and Lauren exchanged one look, a silent promise born of years of training. The cops thought they were in control. In truth, they were seconds away from starting a war. The silence inside the bar was crushing. All eyes flicked toward the sisters, but no one dared move. Sergeant Holt leaned closer, his smirk dripping with arrogance. "You girls must have forgotten whose town this is. Outsiders like you don't get to mouth off in Ashton." His eyes swept over them, his voice turning uglier. Especially not two uppity black girls thinking they're better than everyone else. Brandon's grip on Lauren's shoulders tightened until her muscles ached. He bent low, his breath hot and foul. "Don't act like you don't want the attention. Coming in here dressed like that, thinking you belong." His laugh was low and cruel. "Truth is, you don't belong here at all." Lauren kept her chin high, refusing to flinch, but inside her blood boiled. She'd heard words like that her whole life, but never had she been so cornered, so blatantly threatened in front of a room full of people pretending not to notice. Tyler staggered closer, wagging a finger at Maya. "Look at you, with that attitude. Think you're too good for us, huh? Just another pair of black girls acting like queens. But here, you do what we say." His hand hovered over his cuffs, eyes glinting with drunken excitement. Maya's jaw clenched. "Last warning," she said, her voice steady but sharp as glass. "Step back. You don't know what you're doing." That only made Holt laugh louder. He grabbed her arm, yanking her from her chair. "You threatening an officer? That's a crime, sweetheart." He twisted her wrist hard, forcing her against the wall. The sound of glass shattering echoed as their drinks spilled to the floor. Brandon shoved Lauren forward, pinning her arms behind her back. She bit down on her anger, her training screaming to fight. But she forced herself still. Not yet. Not here. The few remaining patrons kept their heads down. Phones stayed hidden. No one spoke up. Not even Eddie behind the bar, his knuckles white as he gripped the counter. "Arresting you two troublemakers is doing this town a favor," Holt sneered, pressing Maya harder into the wall. "Black girls with mouths like yours never know your place until somebody puts you in cuffs." Tyler fumbled out his handcuffs, the metal clinking as he forced Lauren's wrists together. "Not so tough now, are you?" he taunted, yanking them too tight. She winced, but didn't give him the satisfaction of crying out. The sisters exchanged one look across the room, silent, calculated, a promise only they could understand. Dragged through the bar, paraded past the crowd, they were shoved into the humid night air. A waiting cruiser sat ready, but as Lauren whispered through clenched teeth, her words cut sharp in the dark, they have no idea who they just put in cuffs. The cruiser screeched into the Ashton police station, its headlights cutting through the humid night. Maya and Lauren were dragged out roughly, their wrists burning under the cuffs. Sergeant Holt shoved Maya forward, laughing as she stumbled. "Careful there, sweetheart," he mocked. "Wouldn't want to add resisting arrest to your record." Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, harsh and unforgiving. The desk sergeant barely looked up from his crossword puzzle as the sisters were shoved toward the holding cells. "Booking?" he asked lazily. Holt smirked. "Two loudmouths disturbing the peace. Threatened officers, resisting, you know how it goes." Brandon forced Lauren against the bars while Tyler fumbled with the keys, his drunken hands clumsy but eager. "Ladies first," he slurred, shoving her inside. Maya was thrown into the next cell, the lock slamming shut like a gunshot. Cold concrete. Thin bunks, no shoes, no dignity. Lauren gripped the bars, her voice steady despite her rage. "You're making a huge mistake." "We haven't done anything." That's when the air in the room shifted. A quiet voice cut through the noise. Now, who says they haven't done anything?" Every head turned as Chief Walter Greer entered, his silver hair slicked back, his uniform crisp despite the late hour. His calm tone was more chilling than the officer's drunken threats. He walked slowly, his polished shoes clicking against the floor. He studied the sisters like specimens in a cage. "You know what I see?" His eyes narrowed. "Two outsiders. Two black women who thought they could come into my town and disrespect my men." He leaned closer to Lauren's cell, lowering his voice. "Bad things happen to people who don't know their place here. People disappear. Paperwork gets lost, and no one ever asks questions." Maya's jaw tightened, fury sparking in her eyes. "We've seen corrupt cops before." "You're nothing new." Greer chuckled softly, but it was humorless, cold. "Corrupt? No, darling. I call it order, my order. And in Ashton, my word is law." He straightened, turning to his men. "Charge them with everything. Disorderly conduct, assaulting officers, threatening law enforcement. Stack it all." As Holt began scribbling on the forms, the sisters exchanged a look through the bars. A silent agreement, unspoken, but clear. This wasn't just about them anymore. This was about every victim who had been silenced before, and tonight the fight was only beginning. Hours crawled by in the holding cells. The fluorescent lights never dimmed, buzzing like angry wasps above Maya and Lauren. Their wrists ached, their shoulders throbbed, but worse was the weight of humiliation, being paraded like criminals for the color of their skin. Sergeant Holt returned once, swaggering with a clipboard. He tapped the bars with his pen. "Look at you now. Two angry black girls behind bars where you belong." His smirk widened. "You thought you could walk into our town, run your mouths, and get away with it? Not here." "Here, your kind learns fast," Brandon snorted from the desk, adding, "Should have kept quiet and smiled pretty." Black women with attitudes always end up the same way, locked up or run out. Their laughter echoed through the hallway, every word meant to sting, but the sisters didn't break. They sat in silence, their eyes hard, their bodies still. Holt grew frustrated at their calm. "Don't worry," he sneered. "Chief Greer already signed off. By morning, nobody will remember your names. You'll just be two more loudmouths who didn't know their place." He slammed the clipboard down and walked out, leaving the silence heavier than before. That's when a new figure appeared. A young officer with dark eyes and tense shoulders, carrying 2 paper bags of food. She walked carefully, glancing over her shoulder before approaching the cells. Her name tag read, Morales. Dinner, she announced loudly enough for anyone listening. Standard issue sandwich and water. But as she slid the bag through the slot to Maya, her voice dropped to a whisper. Don't trust anyone here. This isn't the first time. Maya's fingers brushed hers, feeling something slip into her palm, a folded piece of paper. She hid it quickly under her blanket. Morales moved to Lauren's cell, handing over another bag. Her voice carried, but her eyes told the truth. They do this all the time. Always to black women passing through. Say the same things. File the same fake charges. Sometimes the women disappear. And nobody ever asks why. Lauren's heart pounded, but her face stayed still, feigning exhaustion. Thank you, officer, she said loudly, slumping back onto her bunk. Morales straightened, checking the hallway again. Stay quiet. Wait for the right moment. You'll need it. The door at the far end creaked open, heavy boots echoing closer. Morales stiffened, her professional mask snapping back into place. Sergeant Holt's voice cut through the corridor. Well, well, he drawled. How are my favorite inmates holding up? Ready to beg yet? The sisters stayed silent, but their eyes burned with a fire Holt couldn't see, a fire Morales had just reignited. The night dragged like a slow blade. Maya sat on her bunk, turning the folded note Morales had slipped her over and over in her hand. Finally, when the station quieted and the desk sergeant dozed off, she unfolded it. Inside was a single number, an FBI emergency contact written in quick, shaky pen. Her pulse quickened. Finally, a way out, Lauren whispered from her cell across the hall. Call now. Before Holt or the chief come back? Maya moved to the wall phone bolted near the cells, her hands trembling slightly as she dialed the number. Each ring was a hammer to her chest. Then a voice answered. Deep, familiar. Her direct supervisor, Agent Thomas Reed. Relief surged until he spoke. Maya, I've been briefed. His voice was cold, detached. You and your sister stirred up trouble in a small town. I'm advising you to let it go. Her stomach dropped. Let it go? They attacked us. They arrested us for nothing. You know this isn't right. Reed sighed heavily, as if she were a burden. Listen carefully. These men, they have friends in places you don't want to cross. Higher than you realize? If you fight this, you'll lose more than your jobs. My advice? Sign the paperwork, apologize, and disappear quietly. Maya's throat went dry. So you're leaving us here? With them. The line went dead. Her hand shook as she placed the receiver back. Across the hall, Lauren's eyes burned with fury. Even the Bureau? She whispered. They sold us out? Before Maya could answer, the sound of boots echoed again. Holt swaggered back into the cell block, phone in hand, grinning like a devil. You ladies thought you had friends? He waved the device. I just had a lovely chat with your boss. Seems he agrees you're troublemakers. His smirk deepened. And he gave us permission to take our time. Brandon followed with a fresh set of papers. New charges, he barked. Conspiracy, arson, we can make anything stick. Tyler laughed, loud and cruel. See, no one's coming for you. You're nothing but 2 loud black women who forgot their place. The sisters locked eyes again. No cavalry, no backup, just them. But they had survived worse. And now they knew. The game was bigger than Ashton. Maya clenched her fists, whispering just loud enough for Lauren to hear. If they won't save us, we'll save ourselves. The steel doors groaned open before dawn. The air was damp, heavy with the smell of mildew and cigarettes. Holt's voice carried down the corridor, ugly and triumphant. Rise and shine, ladies. Time for a little field trip. Brandon rattled the keys while Tyler staggered behind, still buzzing from last night's whiskey. The sisters were yanked from their cells, wrists cuffed tight, shoved forward into the hallway. Lauren's voice cut the silence. Where are you taking us? Holt leaned close, his whisper hot against her ear. Out where no one will hear you scream. He chuckled, adding with venom. 2 loud black mouths, finally shut for good. Brandon shoved Maya harder than necessary. Whole town's gonna breathe easier once you're gone. Black women with attitudes always end up in the dirt. His words were designed to slice, to remind them how the world saw them, not as women, not as agents, but as targets. Outside, a windowless van waited in the misty lot. The sisters were thrown inside, the doors slamming like a coffin lid. The engine growled to life, carrying them away from the faint lights of Ashton into the suffocating dark. The ride was silent except for Holt's laughter and the rattle of loose chains. Maya felt the vibration of the road beneath her boots, memorizing every turn, every bump, filing it away like evidence. Lauren sat rigid, jaw tight, every muscle screaming to fight, but she held still. Not yet. Finally, the van jolted to a stop. The doors burst open and humid swamp air rushed in, thick with the stench of mud and decay. Cicadas screeched in the distance. An abandoned warehouse loomed ahead, its rusted doors yawning like a mouth. The sisters were dragged inside, forced to their knees on the damp concrete. Holt drew his service weapon, pressing the cold barrel against Maya's temple. His grin was wide, cruel. "Any last words, Agent?" His emphasis on the word dripped with mockery, as though the title meant nothing. Tyler snorted. "Agent, please. Just two black bitches who thought they mattered." Maya's heartbeat thundered in her ears. She didn't flinch. She didn't blink. She turned her head just enough to lock eyes with Lauren. A silent signal passed between them. The same one they'd used in training, the same one they'd used in life-and-death missions. With one subtle twist of her wrist, Lauren felt the cuff click loose. And in that moment, the sisters knew it was time to strike back. The warehouse was silent except for the drip of water echoing off rusted beams. Holt's gun pressed harder into Maya's temple. "End of the line," he hissed. Two angry black girls who thought they were special. "Not so special on your knees, are you?" His words cut sharp, designed to brand them as nothing but objects to break. Brandon crouched in front of Lauren, sneering. "You know what your problem is? Black women always think they're strong, always think they can talk back. But strength don't mean nothing when you're staring down a gun." He laughed, ugly and bitter. Lauren's wrists tingled with freedom as the cuff slipped fully loose. Her eyes never left Maya's. One breath, one nod. That was all it took. In an instant, the calm shattered. Lauren's elbow shot back, slamming into Brandon's throat with a crack that left him gasping. At the same time, Maya twisted her head, knocking Holt's arm off aim, the gunshot blasting harmlessly into the wall. Sparks rained down. Tyler fumbled, shouting, "Get him! Don't let those black bitches—" His words cut short as Maya drove her knee into his gut, doubling him over. The sisters moved like a storm, precise and unrelenting. Years of bureau training flowed through every strike, every step. Holt roared, swinging wildly, but Maya ducked low, swept his legs, and sent him crashing onto the concrete. She snatched the gun from his hand, flipping it with expert precision. "Not so tough now, huh?" she hissed. Lauren had Brandon face down, his cheek grinding into the filthy floor. She yanked the cuffs from his belt and snapped them on his wrists. "Black women don't just survive," she growled into his ear. "We fight." Tyler tried to scramble for the exit, but Maya was faster. A sharp kick to his knee sent him sprawling. She pinned him with his own cuffs, his cries echoing in the cavernous warehouse. The three men who had swaggered in with power now lay beaten, broken and restrained like the criminals they were. Maya reached into her boot, pulling out a small device no one had seen, a hidden body cam blinking red. She pressed a button, and the live feed uploaded straight to bureau servers and social media. Holt's drunken slurs, his racist taunts, his threats, it was all there. The world was about to see it raw, unfiltered, undeniable. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder by the second. Headlights swept across the swamp road, piercing the dark. The sisters stood tall, bruised but unbroken, as the warehouse doors rattled. But the question cut sharp. Were those sirens bringing allies? Or more of Ashton's corrupt cops? The warehouse doors exploded open, the blinding glare of floodlights flooding the room. Maya and Lauren tightened their grip on their captors, refusing to let go. For a split second, fear pricked their chests. Was this backup for Holt? or something else. Then came the voices, clear, commanding. "Federal agents! Hands where we can see them!" Relief crashed over the sisters like a wave. This time, it wasn't drunk cops with twisted power. It was real law enforcement, feds, state troopers, and cameras already rolling. The live body cam had done its job. Across the country, people were watching the nightmare unfold in real time. Holt thrashed, shouting, "You can't do this! This is my town!" His voice cracked with desperation. Brandon tried to roll away, spitting venom. "Don't let these black bitches—" His words were cut off as troopers hauled him up by the cuffs, shoving him into the glare of the cameras. For the first time, the entire world heard them as they truly were, racist, violent, drunk with power. No excuses, no hiding. Every slur, every threat, every blow, they had exposed themselves. Lauren stood tall, blood trickling from her temple, but her gaze unshaken. "You thought we were victims," she said, her voice low but carrying in the silence. "But black women don't just bow down. We fight back, and tonight the whole world saw it." Reporters swarmed as the sisters were guided out, microphones thrust forward. The live feed replayed across screens, Holt sneering about outsiders, Brandon mocking their skin, Tyler bragging about putting them in their place. America watched, and America recoiled. Maya glanced at her sister, exhaustion in her eyes but fire still burning. "This isn't the end," she whispered. "This is just the first crack in the wall," because they knew Ashton wasn't unique. Town after town had men like Holt, chiefs like Greer, systems built to silence black voices. This night was a victory, but the war was far from over. As dawn broke over the swamp, the Brooks sisters stood battered but unbroken, symbols of strength against a machine designed to crush them. And to everyone watching, this is your wake-up call. Racism isn't gone. It isn't history. It's alive. If this story shook you, don't stay silent. Share it. Subscribe for more stories that speak truth. And remember, silence protects the corrupt. Your voice can expose them. The fight isn't over. It's only just begun.